I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm, I'm doing good too. I'm here.
Super. Awesome. I've been like super mom this morning because it's my daughter's birthday and I'm hosting Thanksgiving at my house and I have this live stream schedule. So this
Busy
morning
day then.
I picked up groceries. I came home, unloaded the groceries, made a birthday cake, like just put it in the oven. I didn't do the rest yet. It has to cool, so I had to do it like now. Then I curled half my hair. The other half is not curled. And then I came to this live stream.
Woohoo.
So, hopefully you all have had a more relaxing day. I shouldn't say it's not relaxing. I mean, I've been on time for everything so far. So,
Happy
we're
birthday to your daughter.
thank you. She's
Yes, happy
15,
birthday.
so,
Bless.
no car keys yet.
Not your new car, definitely not.
No, no. So I wanted to have you both on. You're both members of the Video Pursuit Society, and I specifically wanted to chat with you two, and I thought this would be fun to do it live for the whole world to see because you two plus me, we have channels that have grown this year consistently, even though we've taken breaks on our channels and had
Mm.
bouts where we haven't uploaded anything. And yet still our channels are there and growing and people are watching our videos. And so I wanted to pick your brains really about how that has worked for you and what you've learned in 2021 about consistency or lack of consistency and what you're going to take with you to 2022 on your YouTube channel. So, before we get to that, I want you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do on your channel, and I'll bring those channels up on screen. So, Darren, go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll get your channel up on the screen.
I am Darren Meredith. I'm a Canva certified creative and also a Canva creator. And my YouTube channel is all about things that you can do in Canva, how to use Canva, new things that come up in Canva, how to do kind of like hacks. Like you might want to do something in Canva that's not necessarily straightforward. So I talk about tips and tricks and hacks and workarounds on how you can use Canva as a design tool in your everyday kind of arsenal of being able to create content, basically. And it's a platform that's ever evolving. So it's really good that Canva keep introducing all these new features because that provides me with lots of content. And yeah, that's what my channel's all about, and really enjoy it.
Awesome. Chuck, why don't you go ahead with your channel?
Hi, I'm Chuck Underwood, and I am known as Brand New Vegan. So I started this channel to help people who are thinking about eating more plant-based with their diet. And I make it easy for them to make the switch because one of the biggest problems most of us have taking on an entirely new diet is giving up the foods that we love. So I make the comfort foods you used to like, only I make them plant-based with no meat, no dairy, no fat, no oil. I make them healthier. And it seems to be working okay. So that's what I do. I'm a cook, chef, photographer, videographer, all that kind of fun stuff.
Everything. Are
Yeah.
you going to be having a completely vegan Thanksgiving?
Um, I will, yes. In the house, no. My wife has to have her turkey. So she'll make the turkey and I'll make all the sides. And I just eat all the sides.
Nice. All right, cool. Awesome. So, let's dive into let me get us all back on screen. Oh, look, then we can keep the thing on there. Okay, I'll make that go away. Um, so let's talk about consistency because we hear all the time from YouTube educators, including me, You have to upload consistently, like create a schedule, stick to it, upload videos once a week, usually is what I say that I recommend. But earlier this year, like at the end of summertime-ish, I just got really busy, which is kind of a sorry excuse, but I really just didn't prioritize making videos. And I kind of almost ignored YouTube for about a month or so. Like I didn't really usually I check my comments every day. Like I open the app and check my comments just to make sure there's no pressing comment or something. Most of the time it's like a comment that needs to be deleted. But that's a whole other topic. But I kind of ignored it, and when I went to open it back up again and I went into my YouTube studio in the back end of YouTube, it was like, "Hey, congratulations, you got more views and made more money in the past 30 days than you usually do." And I was like, "Well, that's weird because I haven't even done anything here." And I thought, why am I stressing so much, stressing the point that you have to be consistent on YouTube, and also stressing myself to make weekly videos when ultimately the channel still grows and thrives and earns revenue when I take a month off. And you two had both shared in the Video Pursuit Society group that you took a little break. Things came up, life happened. And why don't we start with Darren? Tell me about this year and how your channel has grown, and what sort of gaps did you have in your content when you took a break from uploading?
So I took a break earlier in the year. I just kind of wanted to focus on doing something else. I wanted to focus on creating a course over on Udemy. It's something I wanted to do about using Canva for YouTubers and that side of things, which I felt was really something that I just wanted to do as a project I wanted to focus on. And whilst I was doing that, I didn't feel like I could then give my YouTube channel content as I was feeding it, because I wanted to kind of I was doing like days at a time filming kind of like training sessions and tutorials anyway for the course. So what I did is I took a month off from my YouTube channel, but I still felt when I came back, and even during that break, my YouTube channel still grew because I think it's probably because I had a backlog of content that was still there, still being found in search. People come from Google finding my videos because my videos are quite well SEO'd, I think. And people were kind of like coming along and still subscribing, seeing that there was useful content there, seeing that even if it was only, within a month, I think people are still inclined to still subscribe because they don't look at the channel and think, oh, well, last uploaded a month ago, that's like ages ago, I won't bother subscribing. They look at it and think, oh, it was only a month ago. I think that it's probably if it had a gap of kind of like maybe 2-3 months or more, people might look and then think, oh, there's a big gap there. I don't want to subscribe. I don't know if they're still uploading content and things like that. So I think that that's quite important. But also in the background, I was still on other social media platforms. I was still sharing my videos, being part of other Canva groups and things like that. So I was part of other groups that help answer questions for beginners and things like that. And I was sharing my videos there. People were finding my videos from that. And that was also helping me grow on whilst I took a break from actually creating any new YouTube content.
So how long of what was the longest that you went without uploading anything? Was it a month?
I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks. It was definitely at least 4 weeks. I think it might have been even 5 or 6 weeks until I created some new content. And then when I came back, that new content that I created, I thought, I was a little bit nervous, apprehensive as to whether it was going to take off. But because where I'd been away, I'd still been sharing things on the community tab, like old videos with the community tab. So existing subscribers were able to kind of like interact with me there and almost kind of like, I'd say kind of like almost like super fans, if you like.
Mhm.
They were kind of like still interacting with me there. I wasn't providing them with new videos, but I was still interacting with them there and in different groups and things like that. So I think that kind of like helped. But yeah, it's definitely 4 weeks, maybe 5, even 6 weeks that I took a break from creating any fresh content. And
Mhm.
I was pleasantly surprised that my channel still grew during that time. And when I came back, the channel, the new videos and the new content was still consumed at the level it was.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I think I had a 5-week break. I think it was like maybe the 6th week is when I uploaded something again. And I too was like, I don't know how this is gonna do. And the video did really well. Like, I mean, it was beat, all of my other videos, when you know how YouTube gives you, like, this is how your video is performing in the first hour compared, like I followed it through the first 24 hours and it performed really well. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should take a break more often. Um, so Chuck, what about you? You had a break from YouTube this year, didn't you?
I've had several, quite a bit actually. For me, YouTube was an afterthought. So first and foremost, I have my blog, and that is my main income stream. So I try to stay as consistent as I can with my blog, providing a recipe a week, which is hard all by itself. And when you add a video to that weekly schedule, it gets even harder. So sometimes I did okay, sometimes I didn't. And then during the summer, I was just looking over here at my other screen, with the whole COVID mess and the vaccines and all the surge and everything else. I just got really down and I just didn't feel like doing anything. It's just hard to get back into the swing of life and with all the bad news and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And I started up again in what's that, July? So from May to July, I didn't do anything. And then I was doing okay. And just recently, I got shingles and they are no fun. So that took me out for the last month. On top of that, my heat pump died. And of course, more life happens. And
Mhm.
um, yeah, so all these challenges, and I'm surprised just to see my channel is still doing good. It's still growing. But I think a big part of that for me, along with my blog, I really have a big group in Facebook. I have a
Mm.
private Facebook group just for my super fans, whatever you want to call them. And there's about 23,000 people there. So we interact there almost daily. So there's never a day that goes by that they don't hear from me. And so they know where to find me. And if it's not my blog or my YouTube channel, they'll find me there. And that's just, to me, it's a perfect place to, hey guys, I finally did a new video. Here it is. I can send that out. 23,000 people will see it. And my email newsletter too. So maybe that's what's driving my YouTube growth and keeping it steady. I have no idea.
Mhm. So, are you all back after having shingles? Are you feeling good?
I am finally. That was horrible. Something I
So,
do not recommend for anybody. Oh, geez. That hurt.
yeah, I bet. Um, you have your most recent upload. I'll share this. I'll share my screen. Your most recent upload is um how a plant-based diet saved my life. You have 20,000 views on that.
That was my stroke. That was my stroke story. That was last year. So this has been just a crazy couple of years for me health-wise.
Wow. But it's interesting looking at um your content and how it's like it all kind of comes up to this moment where you're like, and here's how all of this food actually ended up saving my life. And it's just great. It's not just recipes, it's you're also sharing these parts of your life and why eating and cooking in this way actually matters. So
And
that's really
I think
cool.
that's something that I know my people, my fans really like about me because they tell me all the time is that I am so transparent. And I've learned that from other big bloggers, big YouTubers. We've all heard it, be 100% transparent, be honest, tell your people what's going on, and they'll love you even more for it. So I try to
Mhm.
do that. The stroke presentation was actually a presentation I gave to a local Northwest Veg potluck group here in the Pacific Northwest, and they asked me to do a Zoom call. So that's my presentation to them. And I thought, well, I've already got the presentation made. Let's make a video out of it. And
Mhm.
that's where that video came from. And it basically is the exact copy of my stroke video I did the year before, but it's still doing well. And the shingles
Awesome.
video will be out next.
Good. That's good. We'll see how that one does. So what do you think, what's been something with your YouTube channel or just maybe content creation in general that you've learned this year in 2021? A big sort of like aha moment that you're going to take with you to 2022 when it comes to content creation?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Um, that I have not been consistent with YouTube or my blog, and the page views of my blog, which translates to the ad dollars from my blog, really uh, tells me the story. I need to be more consistent completely in both the blog and YouTube if I want to continue to grow the way I was growing a couple of years ago. And I can't let things get in the way. I have to just stay consistent, stay on top of my game. I have been working with my web host guy, and I'm going to do a complete redesign of my blog starting
Mm.
Thanksgiving. So I'll have a whole
Wow.
new blog with all the updates. It's an older. When I created the blog, actually, I just turned 8 years old 2 days ago. My
Wow,
blog did.
congratulations.
Yeah. So I was always proud of it because I made that blog myself. I did everything. I didn't hire anybody. So it's all self-made, which kind of shows now 8 years later. And if I want to take it to the next level, I need to have the pros get involved. So I'm going to spend the money and have a whole redesign done with all the latest stuff and see if that gets my page views back up where they were, the income back up where it was, and then hopefully with that fixed, I can concentrate more on YouTube and get that back up where I want it to be.
Mhm. But your YouTube has grown, right? Just while it's just sitting there.
Yeah. Don't ask me how. I have no idea.
So it's funny because you're saying, "I need to be more consistent so that it grows."
That's what I
But
told myself.
but your channel actually proves that it grows even when you're not consistent. Blog might be a different story, but
Yeah.
YouTube is kind of like this self-propelling machine.
I think
Um,
whether it's a blog or YouTube or whatever it is, if you're a content creator or influencer or whatever you want to call yourself, people expect to see you. And if
mhm.
they don't see you somewhere, they lose interest.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I think that's more prevalent, I guess, on something like Instagram or TikTok where it's like constantly let's crank out this content, show our face. Whereas on YouTube, people are searching for things, they're finding your videos. Same with your blog. I always like to tell this story, maybe you've heard it, of way back just before the pandemic. There was this woman that I followed, and I always watched her stories on Instagram because she was funny and entertaining. And it just hit me one day, man, I haven't seen that girl in a while. Wonder where she is. So I went and found her Instagram account, and her most recent post on there was that she and her kids had had the flu. And I was like, oh, isn't that funny? You get sick and all of a sudden you completely drop off of Instagram's algorithm. You're just
Mhm.
gone. And so it made it really, and I've never been a huge Instagram person. I like the long-term, long-form content of YouTube and blogging. But it really hammered home for me the point of like the difference between building a business around content creation and being an influencer around content creation. Because if you're an influencer and you get hit by a bus, there goes your business, right? If I got hit by a bus, YouTube's still going to be depositing money into my bank account. I can't take it with me, but somebody will use it back here. And so I love that about YouTube. Darren, I want to bring you over. What are some big takeaways from 2021 that you're going to take into 2022?
I think for me, I'd say I'm not going to worry too much about how consistent I am. I try to, so I in my head, I try to upload at least one video a week. And during the month of, I think it was August, or was it September? August or September, I took a month off from client work. So I'd say at the moment for me, YouTube's kind of like a 50-50 kind of like split. And where I'd taken a month off YouTube earlier in the year, I decided in August, September to take a month off doing some client work and focus 100% on doing YouTube. And I was doing 2 videos a week. I started creating a blog around that side of things. And I think I did see a little bit more growth during that period where I was uploading consistently. So I think, yes, you can still grow consistently whilst you're not uploading to YouTube. And I think that's because if you've got a number of videos, you'll still grow that way. I think if you uploaded just kind of like one video to YouTube or half a dozen videos to YouTube, I don't think you would grow as you would expect. Because I've got another channel which is all around travel and that side of things, and that's got kind of like half a dozen or so videos on it, and that kind of trickles in and gets kind of like 1 or 2 new subscribers every now and then. And I've kind of like just almost abandoned that since the pandemic hit. That's when I then started focusing on the Canva side of things. But I think for me, taking that break away from client work and focusing on YouTube and also creating other content that would create me some passive income or deferred income, I would prefer to call it, that gave me the insight that at some point during next year, I want to move totally away from doing client work and focus 100% on doing YouTube videos and also doing the templates and things like that I create in Canva, because that all kind of like helps give me a passive income on a month-to-month basis, which I think is great. And as you say, even though you took a month off from YouTube, you still got paid by YouTube at the end of the month for all the views that you still get. And that's the same for me. My channel got monetized in April, and the amount of revenue that I've earned since April has increased a little bit each month, even though I took a month off. And that's kind of like been a really big eye opener for me, I think, because it kind of just made me think, well, actually, yes, you can make a career out of this. And, at some point next year, it's something I want to transition into doing 100% of the time and move away from client work, I think.
Awesome. I love that. I was hoping you were going to keep talking because my dog is barking like crazy at something outside, like a tractor went by or something. So I'm just
I was thinking I was going to lose my voice.
Keep going. So tell me about so you have revenue that comes from YouTube ad revenue, but you also make Canva templates. Tell me about how that works and how that fits in with the content you create on YouTube.
Okay, so the Canva templates, that side of thing is I create templates directly on Canva. I'm a Canva creator as part of a beta program. Just over a year ago, I was invited to be part of this beta program of, I think there was about 30 or so of us. And part of that beta program allowed me to create templates directly on Canva. So when someone uses a template of mine on Canva, I get paid a few cents every time someone downloads it. And the more templates I create, the more that gives me visibility, my templates visibility on Canva. And around holiday times, you kind of like see spikes and things like that. And that I've even taken breaks away from that. So I created, I think it was around about 100 templates, and I didn't create any new templates for like 3 or 4 months, and I was still getting a regular amount from Canva for having those templates on there, albeit being part of the beta program. And then I then came back and added a load more templates, and I try and add those consistently, kind of like around about 10 or so a week, just building it up slowly. There's some people that build it up a lot faster, but for me, that kind of gives me another area of passive income. And one of the things that I want to do is start selling those templates in other areas. There's other markets, like whether I can add them to my own blog. I recently started thumbnail ideas, which I told you about previously. When we talked. So that's still in the early stages at the moment. I've kind of put a few things on there, and it's there for me to go back to. But also what I want to do is start putting my templates on other websites. So you've got things like Etsy, you've got things like Creative Market, where you can sell designs. I can do designs on things like print-on-demand designs for things like Redbubble, other sites like that. So there's a whole thing around that side of things. Also KDP. I did a journal, KDP journal that I published recently, and also a coloring book that I did. So all those things, they're all kind of like little bits that earn me a little bit of extra income from different revenue streams for being creative. And that's something that I want to kind of try and focus on next year, I think, is trying to find different revenue streams that can help me do this full time. I mean, it's kind of, I'd say kind of like 3 out of 5 days a week I tend to do YouTube stuff anyway at the moment. So,
Awesome. All right, cool. Let's bring this is easy with only 3 people. I just have to swap you guys back and forth. We had 4 people the other day, and I was like trying to figure, it was like a puzzle here inside of Restream, trying to move people around. And so Chuck, tell me so I know that you have a blog and you have the YouTube channel. And this is something a lot of content creators they're always asking me about, like, do I focus on my blog? Do I focus on my YouTube channel? How do they work together? Is it the same content? And I'm always like, I don't know. You just have to do what makes sense for you. So I want to hear from you. How does your blog and your YouTube channel work together? How does it work for you?
Good question. I have to say that my blog is like first and foremost number one priority for me, because as Darren was talking about, that's my main revenue stream. And I have several, but that pays the bills. So if I don't have my job, then I can't do the YouTube or anything else. So I have to keep it going. YouTube, that was an afterthought for me, and I should have done it from the beginning, and I didn't. But having all your main revenue coming from one stream is kind of scary. You want to have several streams in case something goes down, you're still making money. And YouTube was going to be that for me. If I could equal my income on my blog with income from YouTube, then if something happened to one, I wouldn't be suffering. You know what I mean? So I try to put content on YouTube that goes along with my blog. And as I was saying with the recipes, if I'm going to do a recipe cooking day, I got to get my ingredients, I got to cook, I have to make sure it comes out okay, it doesn't taste terrible or look horrible. And then I have to photograph, then I have to edit the photographs, and I have to write the blog post and put the recipe out, and then social media and all that stuff. That's a full day's work, or 2 or 3. And if you make a video out of that at the same time, it gets really hectic. So a lot of my earlier channels videos were from me cooking, and that just got so hard. I haven't done many of those lately, where instead I focused on more of my life events. a lot of my people that follow me, I know are in my age group. And so we all have similar, I hate to say problems, but health issues. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just looking for different ways to connect with my audience, and the stroke story and the shingle story, and how the diet saved my life and that kind of stuff seems to resonate with them quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what else I can do on my channel besides videos or tell my personal stories, but I'm always searching, I'm always looking, and I think it's just a way to take what they've got from the blog. The blog is here's how you eat, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the YouTube channel is here's why you do it, here's how you do
Mm,
it. I don't know. I'm still looking for that best way to make them both. I don't want to make them both identical. That would be
right.
boring. I
Right.
want them to go along with each other.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting way of looking at it because I think a lot of people, it is identical. Mine is identical. Basically, what's on my blog is on my YouTube channel. But I love the idea though, since your niche is something lifestyle-ish, mine is like how
Hmm.
to. For it being a lifestyle thing, I like the idea of having it. They're like intertwined, but they're not
Hmm.
identical. So that's really
Yeah.
smart. I love that. I also think it's funny. It kind of made me laugh. You said, um, we don't want to just have one revenue stream. That's kind of scary. And it's funny how many people are employed and they have one revenue stream and they're
Yeah,
not scared.
exactly.
And like us content creators are like, "Oh, no, no, no. We have to have at least 7. We've got to have at least 7 and then like 3 possible plan Bs in the works."
Hmm.
And it's just the way that we kind of operate. And luckily we're all creative people. And so creating revenue streams and creating content is like part of the game. So it's kind of fun.
Hmm.
Um, I want to pull up a question from the comments here. Starting a channel, what do you recommend for a YouTube channel name? What do you guys think about a YouTube channel name? Anything? Chuck, go ahead.
Well, I guess it depends on what your YouTube channel is going to be about to make sure that if you're the average Joe person out there in the world looking for your channel, how are they going to find you? What are they going to search for? Whatever those search words are that you can think of, that should be somewhere in your channel name so they can find you.
Yeah. Darren, what do you think?
I totally agree with Chuck there. It all depends on what you want your channel to be about, and whether you want to be a personal brand, a bit like yourself say, and how I started out was just my name, because I wanted to be known for that content that I was creating. But also I've seen some channels where they have kind of like a saying, a bit like Chuck's got with your channel. I think that probably help you more in from a search point of view, can help you. So if people are searching for a particular kind of search phrase or something like that, then that can help you until you get known. Because if you go into YouTube and now type Darren Meredith, I come up, one of the top many Darren Merediths that seem to be around. I always thought my name was fairly unique. Apparently, it's not. And I think that's probably one of the things also for creating one of the arguments for creating a brand name is that you can create more of a unique brand name and name for yourself, but it's also seeing what's available on, have a search, see what's available on YouTube, have a search, see what's available on social media. You don't want to commit yourself to one thing and then find out that you can't then get the Instagram handle if that's something that you want to, or the Facebook handle.
Yep.
You've got to you've got to look and think about, give yourself those options and see if those are already being used, and see if you can secure all of those across all social media platforms. Because having a dot in the middle of it and not having a dot, or an underscore at the end and not having an underscore at the end, it can get quite confusing for your audience. Yes, they can click through, but if they're just searching for your name or your brand, sometimes they might not find you, or somebody else will come up because they've had that name first, or it might have been registered first. So it's all about deciding on what you prefer yourself, and also what is actually available out there, I think.
Yeah, I love that.
That is a very good point.
Your and you had just commented your response in the last sentence is everything. It's more important to get started.
100%, 100%. Just get started.
Yeah. It reminds me of I've talked to people before who are like, "Oh, I'm going to start a business." But first I have to get business cards printed. And I'm always just like, no, that's not the first step of starting a business. In their mind, they think, well, businesses have business cards. So if I get business cards, I will have a business. But really, no, you have to start doing the things that you want your business to do. And it's like the same thing with YouTube. Plus, you can always change your channel name. So it can be whatever. People will find you for the content that's on there, way before they find you because of the name of your channel. Unless it's some like random, very niched thing that there's no competition for. So I love that advice. That is great. So what do you guys think is something, and we talked about this a little bit, but is there anything going into the new year that you're going to stop doing in 2022 as a content creator? Is there anything that you've been like stressing yourself out about to get this or get that or have this just right that you're just going to leave behind in 2021? What do you guys think? Darren, go ahead.
Imposter syndrome.
Ooh.
You're
going to stop being an imposter in 2022?
If this wasn't live. It's something that, as a content creator, and I've got a lot of content creation friends and outside of the group, and I think that everyone inside of your group, I class them as friends as well, but also other content creator friends that have like photography channels or they're travel bloggers and things like that. And once you start getting a little bit of success, it can sometimes cripple you with fear for wanting to create, because you're always trying to better your previous videos. And I think sometimes when you look at the statistics, or when you launch a video on YouTube, it's something that I get really frustrated with. Is I launch a video and it says this is performing number 7 out of the 10 previous videos that you've launched, and I'm like, okay, what could I have done to improve that? And I've sometimes thought to myself, well, that wasn't a really good video. Should I delete it? Should I have not published it? What can I do to do better? People are not interested in this subject. And then sometimes later on, a few months down the line, a video can then just suddenly take off and become one of your even better performing videos, because it suddenly hits inside some kind of like algorithm or something like that, or it's been shared somewhere. And yeah, I think it's, for me, the main thing that I think I want to leave behind this year is the worry about how well my videos are performing, and just focus on trying to be able to help my audience, and knowing that the content that I'm creating, even if it helps just one person, I'm helping somebody else understand how to use a particular part of Canva, and helping them overcome a problem or a solution, or find a solution to something. So yeah, get rid of imposter syndrome. It's not good.
Stacy says you are not an imposter, you rock. I agree.
Thank you very much, Stacy.
But imposter syndrome is such a real thing, that because it's almost like we're always looking to improve. And so like the nature of seeking to improve there's like a presupposition that there's something like not performing well, something not working, something like bad or wrong or, right? And it's not necessarily that you can improve on something that's already really amazing. And so I think with business and content creation, it's very, it's just the nature of it that you always want to grow and improve and try new things. And so you're always going to face this like mental roadblock of, well, I haven't done that before. I don't know what my audience is going to think. I don't know how that's going to perform. And if you don't run into that roadblock, then you're probably not doing anything different or bigger or better or like trying to grow. And so it's definitely a real thing. I love that you're going to leave it behind in 2021 and not take it with you. Chuck, how about you? What are you gonna not do in 2022? What are you leaving behind?
Something I've been yelled at for many, many times. The admins of my Facebook group, they pick on me a lot because I love to compare myself, and you shouldn't ever do that. And I know, but I can't help it. And you look at somebody who maybe started a YouTube channel like a week ago, and they're already doing better than you as far as views and popularity. It can be the same on a blog or recipe, anything. And you just can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, because it puts you in a bad place. And then you're so mentally down, you don't want to do anything. So I'm going to stop comparing myself and just focus on doing what I do best and hope people like it.
I love that so much. I think that's same for me because I do the same thing. I look at other people and like, well, they have so many more followers than me and their audience is more engaged and all this. And when in reality, like what I have created in my business, my channel, my life, I really like it. It's great. So why would I look at somebody else and go, yeah, but like I don't want what they have. I like what I have. And so I want to keep growing, based on who I am and what I want to create, not what other people are creating. And so I love that, Chuck. That is great. Joe wants to know, how do you feel about YouTube Shorts? I feel good about the success of some, but other do not do well. Do we delete them? Ooh, that's a good question. How are I know Darren has done shorts. Chuck, have you done any YouTube Shorts? No shorts for you. Okay. Darren, what's your experience with shorts so far?
My experience with shorts is hit and miss. And I think it's the same for Instagram Reels and TikTok. And I think they're a really great idea and can help you grow. I know that they've helped Sherry grow, ratchet up your art. I can see she's there in the comments. She's been loving doing the shorts recently, and you can get a couple done and schedule them out throughout the week. And they're a really good way, I think, to potentially keep you up there with your audience and keep you engaged with your audience on a more regular basis. I would love to do more shorts in the new year, and I think excuse me, I think it's really good to be able to take long form video and break it up into some smaller sections and make them into really quick tips, maybe, and to edit those natively in not natively, but to edit them externally in your video editing software, and to then use those videos that are then not going to be watermarked or copyrighted with different music on platform, because I think that that's probably something that's I can see that happening next year, is where people are sharing their TikTok videos to Instagram or to YouTube. More and more people are going to get caught out for copyright issues, especially on YouTube, I think, because people in TikTok just seem to use any kind of music, and I find that really frustrating because it's not teaching people about copyright and the issues around copyright for music. But at the same time, I think it's really good because a lot of music artists are using TikTok to be able to grow their reach. They're creating unique content that people are then able to use a little snippet of their music, and they're happy for people to use that snippet of music. And I think that there's this whole kind of like shift that might happen in 2022 around how that content is used across, or how short form content is used across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think I can't even remember what I was saying now.
It was good. It sounded great, Darren.
It sounded great, and I forgot there was going to be like a punchline to it, or a concluding remark, and I really forgotten where I was going with the remark. But I think that, you know, having shorts or creating short form content in a video editing app, if you like, or video editing software, and sharing them across multiple platforms, and you can even use them on Pinterest. It's something I've just started teaching us or learning a bit more about around the side of Pinterest and seeing if that can help me. And as I start growing my blog, whether adding things on Pinterest will help me and that side of things. But I didn't realize until recently that you can add video pins and story pins and all sorts of things on Pinterest. And
Yeah.
it's all the same format as the YouTube Shorts, your Instagram Reels, your TikToks. It's all vertical format video, and it can all be repurposed. And I
Yeah.
think that's going to be a big, big shift for content creators in 2022.
Yeah.
And being able
I
to
think
share
you're
it.
right. Yeah, I think you're right. And I was just thinking the other day, sometimes I have these scary thoughts like, what would the internet and content creation look like as a business if vertical short form content was the king of content? Like, what if we all made vertical short form content and YouTube, like regular YouTube videos, like this live stream that's happening right now, this horizontally, what am I trying to say? You know what I mean? What if that wasn't the norm anymore? And in order to, grow your business, get traffic, earn revenue, it was all short form. Like imagine opening up YouTube and it looked like TikTok. Like it was just short form vertical content. And, that's kind of like a weird thought, but I think there's so many things that exist within the content creation world that at one point I would have thought, no, that's not TikTok. Like the whole concept of TikTok, that's for kids. It's not going to catch on. And it really it has caught on like wildfire and it's growing like crazy. And it really seems to, because all of the other platforms are trying to keep up and catch up. And TikTok's like, I don't know, you're gonna have to run a lot faster to catch up with TikTok. It's crazy. And it's crazy to think there's people that can start creating content, become a content creator today, and never create a long form piece of content, never write a blog post, never make a YouTube video, only ever do vertical short form content and grow their businesses. I mean, there's tons of people on TikTok that's their job. And it's crazy to think, but I think we have to keep an eye on it and start to utilize it. And I wish I had more time to create shorts, which they're not necessarily, they're shorter videos, but they don't necessarily take a shorter amount of time to create.
It's just quick cuts. It's just really quick cuts.
Yeah. So I maybe sometime in the month of December, I will take a week off of regular work and just be like, all right, just create some shorts, Meredith. If I could create like 100 and then drip them out over like, one a day for 100 days, that would be amazing. That sounds like a good challenge.
I like that challenge.
Maybe we'll have to do something like that inside the Video Pursuit Society. So Joe tries not to use music on YouTube Shorts. And yeah, all right,
Yeah.
cool.
I've got a good tip for people that are wanting to use different music. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of music that you can use directly on YouTube, and if you look in the YouTube studio area. But also there's a website called Upbeat with 2 P's in the middle of that. Upbeat.io, and they offer free music. All you have to do is put a link in your description and you can use the music there. So either YouTube or Upbeat if you're worried about copyright. One of the things as a Canva creator that I see on there, you can download YouTube outros on Canva. And one of the things I learned recently and that I want to share with my audience as well that I've not done yet is so you've got an exclusive here, is that if you're using Canva to create your YouTube outro and you're using music from Canva, even though it's backed by Epidemic Sound, it issues you a license each time you download it to use it on your YouTube video at that particular time. If you then use that same download in a future video, you can get a copyright strike. This is something that I've seen happen to a few people. What you have to do is you have to go in and you have to download it every time and connect it to your YouTube channel. When you click download, it gives you the option to connect it to your YouTube channel each time. And you have to do that every time you create a new video. You can't just use the same bit of content.
You know what would be easier? Just get an Epidemic Sound license.
That's why I wasn't aware of the issue, because I'm an Epidemic Sound like yourself. I'm an Epidemic Sound ambassador, and I get to use Epidemic Sound all the time. And I even before that, I was a subscriber to Epidemic Sound, so I never came across this issue until someone pointed it out to me.
Yeah, and Epidemic Sound has, I want to show this if I can find it. In the account area, when you subscribe to Epidemic Sound, you connect your different platforms, and that's how it knows who that you're licensed basically to use the music. So you connect your YouTube channel, you can connect your Instagram account, you can connect Twitch, you can connect a podcast feed, and you can connect your TikTok. So you can create, if you create a vertical short form content outside of an app, but like with a camera and editing software, use your Epidemic Sound licensed music. You can put it on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. And the music is licensed for all those things. And you only have to create the video the one time instead of like using music from over here and then using music from over there to put it on there. So I like that idea. I have to just like get into the workflow of doing something like that. But I think I'm going to challenge myself to do something like that. So what's our favorite software for recording and editing? Do we use ScreenFlow? Chuck, what do you use for recording and editing?
Final Cut Pro.
Me too.
I'm a Mac guy. It was there. So I started off on iMovie and then graduated because it's very similar.
Yeah. Darren, what about you?
Again, Final Cut Pro I use for majority of my videos. A lot of my tutorials, I do tend to just record those and edit them in ScreenFlow because you can. It's really easy to do that inside ScreenFlow. If you're doing tutorials or editing video where you're recording your screen, it's really good because it synchronizes the audio and it's just easy to just chop it up and and edit it that way. On my travel channel, I always use Final Cut Pro because I just like the way it works. Similar to Chuck, I started off with iMovie, progressed on to Final Cut Pro because I went to an Apple store. And if anyone's got an Apple store near them, you can go there and you can learn the basics of how to use iMovie. And also sometimes they do introduce you to Final Cut Pro because obviously they want to upsell you to Final Cut Pro. So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up getting to use iMovie and progressing to Final Cut Pro was just by going to the Apple store.
Yeah. I also use Final Cut, But I love ScreenFlow for screencast recordings and then editing. So if I do a screencast, I don't edit that in Final Cut Pro. I edit that in ScreenFlow and then export it and then, edit the rest of the video in Final Cut Pro. And I used to use Premiere Pro because I still have a Creative Cloud, license from Adobe, but I don't know. One day I thought, what the heck? Final Cut Pro has a 90-day free trial. That's plenty of time to learn how to use it. And I was fully prepared to hate it because I feel like people who use Premiere Pro, like if you know how to use Premiere Pro, you can do anything. Like you can build a spaceship with Premiere Pro. It seems like because it's like very robust, but it's also very complicated. But once you know what you're doing, you can do anything. And so I thought in my mind that like Final Cut would be a little bit of a downgrade and there would be things that I wanted to do that I just wasn't able to. But I loved it because it's simpler, but it's not a downgrade. Everything I needed, it was capable of doing. And it's just more like it's more pleasing to use, if that makes sense. Whereas Premiere Pro is like this big, clunky, unwieldy piece of software.
I've heard it takes a lot of time to render in Premiere Pro as well.
I would think it
I've
does.
never used
Mhm.
it. I looked at the interface. I was going from iMovie, and I wanted to do some more advanced editing from the basics that you can do in iMovie. So I looked at Premiere Pro. I think I did download a trial of it, and I think it gave me like 14 days. And it sat there doing nothing for 13 days. And on the final day, I was like, right, I need to look at this. And I sat down and I looked at it, and I was like, it doesn't make any sense. And I think that's one of the good things that Apple have done with progressing people from iMovie to Final Cut Pro is that it's a very similar interface, but you get some more bells and whistles with Final Cut Pro, more advanced features and options and other plugins that you can use. So I think that's very good. But I think with regards to when it comes to editing videos is whatever you find easy to use. The main important thing, as I said before in one of the comments, is just to get started and teach yourself that one new little thing every time you do a new video. And one of the things that I took away from when I first started editing videos was as I was filming videos, editing videos, I would then, whilst I was editing that video, I'd be thinking like, whilst I was filming this video, if only I'd have done a shot like this or said this to the camera or shown that on camera. And that then taught me the next time that I went out with my camera or was doing a video and doing the filming side of it, I would then slow down my movement, my panning, or, how I was recording it, whether it was in 1080p, 4K, 60 frames a second or 96 and a half frames a second, which you can't do, but you get the idea.
Yeah, the idea of doing little by little, I think is really important. And like you said, being an editor is going to make you a better shooter. It's going to make you think about things, and it's almost like at some point we all learned how to paint with a paintbrush and paint and a canvas. And if you didn't have a canvas, your paintbrush is kind of, well, not really useless. You could paint on anything. But if you had a canvas but not a paintbrush, then what are you going to do? And it reminds me of creating videos because you have to shoot the videos, then you have to edit the videos, and you figure out how to use both of those things together. It's not like we shoot, we edit. It's like, we shoot and we have some things in mind with the edit of what we're going to do. And then when we're editing, we know, oh, maybe next time I could try this and this when I'm shooting. And you learn and grow. And it's like a creative process. It's like an art and science thing.
I've actually had to go back and reshoot after the edit just to add that one piece that I messed up or I wanted to add.
Yes. And I spend more time trying to debate with myself, should I reshoot this? Or should I just let it go, or just let it be, or just leave it out? I spend more time trying to debate that than it would take to just go and reshoot it. Because sometimes just the idea of reshooting, it's like, oh God, please don't make me do that. I have a whole video I have to reshoot because my microphone was rubbing up against like the other side of my jacket that I was wearing for the whole video. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
hate it when that happens.
I mean, I'm okay with having poor quality audio, but not like rubbing up. Like that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So
People just stop, will they?
yeah. So all right. So
Um,
last question, then I'm gonna let you guys go. And I will preface this by telling you that you can't answer this question by saying just get started. Okay. So, what advice do you have for a young channel who, let's say, they want to actually get started before the new year so they can hit the ground running in 2022? What advice do you have besides just get started? Chuck, go ahead.
A young channel who wants to get started.
A young
start
channel
shooting.
meaning a new channel. I just like to say young because it sounds better than,
Okay.
small.
If you're taking your videos on a camera, on a phone, start shooting everything. Just shoot video. Listen to it, listen to the audio, get used to how to work it and what you like and what you don't like. If you're using a camera, just pull out that camera every single day and shoot something. Just to get used to the camera, get used to the settings. You should know the stuff like the back of your hand so that when you do get started, you won't have to fumble with that. You'll be fumbling with other things, but at least you'll know your equipment. So get very familiar with your camera, your phone, your microphone, what light looks best, which direction is coming from, all of that kind of stuff. Just start playing with it and get used to it.
That's really good advice. I love that, Chuck. Thank you. Darren, what do you have?
I totally agree with everything that Chuck's just said there, is because I've got another channel which is all around travel, and I wanted to start doing a general vlog on that channel, which I've not done for a long time since I've been doing my Canva channel. And I kind of got out of the pattern of what to do with my camera, or I just bought the new GoPro. I wanted to kind of test to see what it's like. And until you do start using your equipment and trying to put together a story arc, or trying to figure out, did I shoot that right? What's it going to come out like? You're not going to know until you do just get started. Sorry.
I should have a fine jar, like a swear jar, where I'm gonna fine you for saying just get started.
Okay, until you begin the process, until you begin the process of filming and editing, you're not going to understand or appreciate what's involved in making a video. And each time you create something, even if you don't publish it anywhere, even if it's just just going through the learning process, then if you just enjoy creating a video or having a go at creating a video, enjoy about telling your story, and think about what's the purpose of wanting to start a channel. What is your end goal? What's your reasoning? What's, to take it from Simon Sinek, what's your why? It's very sort of like ingrained in me as to having a purpose behind the video side of things. And also, I'd say if you're a new beginner channel, not sure on the direction that you want to take, then come and join Video Pursuit Society. Meredith hasn't paid me to say this, but
I'll give your fine back to you. Okay.
But I genuinely mean it, is that if you want to get started, because as I say, I had a travel channel beforehand, and that was just all over the place. When I joined Video Pursuit Society back in March 2019, which feels like a lifetime ago now, it gave me focus, it gave me understanding, it gave me a place to connect with other content creators that weren't just going to give me the stereotypical answer. They were going to be honest with me, they were going to give me honest feedback, and it allowed me to have that focus and grow my channel and grow my confidence as well. So yeah, join in the challenge. Have you got a challenge coming up? I think I saw an
have.
email
Well,
about it.
actually, this is a perfect segue.
Nice segue for you there. There you
This
go.
is completely unplanned, but my advice would be to come join us inside of the workshop that's happening on Tuesday, November 30th. I sent an email out yesterday that said Monday, November 30th, and it's Tuesday, November 30th. The Build Your Profitable YouTube channel in 30 days. I'm going to kind of give you the steps to create that blueprint using what I call the spiderweb strategy, which the spiderweb strategy is both a planning tool and a strategy for YouTube so that the content you create continues to drive traffic to your channel, even when you don't upload for 5 weeks or however long, right? And so that's happening on Tuesday, November 30th. I put a link down in the description below this video, but it's vidpromom.com/workshop. It's completely free. I took my 5-day challenge and packed it into an hour. So it's going to be
That's intense.
action packed. There's a workbook and everything. And so basically I want to show people the steps to create a channel that ultimately becomes a online business using YouTube, even while they have a full-time job or a busy family. And we have lots of people inside of my membership, the Video Pursuit Society, who do have full-time jobs and busy families. And we talked a little bit about that in our live stream the other night with Sherry and Kate. And who else was there? Somebody else.
Dave. Was Dave there?
And Dave, yes. who all had full-time jobs, and they're growing their channels, and they're really taking off this year, thanks to the spiderweb strategy. So thank you for that segue, Darren.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. It was honestly, genuinely, totally unplanned. But I remember as I was talking, I remember seeing something about a challenge coming up, because I remember you saying that when we'd had our call earlier in the month that you normally do a challenge before Christmas, and that you weren't doing it this time. But then I saw that yesterday and I was like, okay. So yeah, no, I was going to say join the challenge next year when you do one, but you've got that one coming up next week.
Yeah. I usually try to do a challenge once per quarter, and I got to like the end of October and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to do a 5-day challenge in November or December. It's like it's like the end of the year. It's too holiday-ish. It's like there's just too much going on. And I thought, well, if I don't want to run the challenge, then maybe people don't want to come to a challenge at the end of the year. Let's do a workshop. So and if it goes really well, then we'll keep it a workshop.
Sounds good.
And maybe do something else for a challenge. Like a shorts challenge. So, all right. I want to let everyone know that I linked to both Darren and Chuck's channels below. So Darren is Darren Meredith, and Chuck is Brand New Vegan, and their links are below. And thank you guys for being here, and have a great rest of your week, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. See you soon.
You too. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.